Hi guys, today we have a special kanji recap as we have 10 kanjis using the tree radical. Let's get started. The kanji for tree is the pictogram of a tree which originally showed branches on top and roots on the bottom. When this kanji acts as a radical, it gives the meaning of tree or wood. The examples we have is table, utsukue, grove, hayashi, and forest, mori. Fun fact, there are two special kanjis that came from tree. The first one is not yet, which shows a short horizontal line on top, giving the meaning of a tree that hasn't fully grown yet. The second one is end, which shows a longer horizontal line on top, giving the meaning of a fully mature tree. The kun reading is ki, which again it means tree. As for the on reading, we have moku, as in the word mokuyobi or Thursday. You can see the kanji tree by itself in a Japanese calendar to denote Thursday. Do not confuse tree with book, although the kanji of book was originally the kanji of tree showing its roots, hence the small horizontal line on the bottom. One last note, this kanji has 4 strokes and it is a JLPT N5 level. I hope you enjoy your Thursdays surrounded by trees. So here is the etymology behind the kanji for machine. In this pictogram, you can see how the kanji was originally. And now, if we look at the current kanji, we can see that it's divided into 2 parts. The left is the radical for tree or wood, and the right side shows a loom. Now, let's see why it is a loom. The loom side consists of 3 parts. The top is short threads. The bottom is a person with a cutting device. All of this makes a wooden loom. And of course, a loom is a machine, hence the meaning. The kanji is a bit complicated, but at least you only need to remember one reading, and it is ki. As examples, we have kiki, which means device, or kikan, which means engine. One last note, this kanji has, guess how many? 16 strokes, and it is a JLPT N3 level, because of course we are surrounded by machines nowadays. Welcome to Kanji Classroom, and today we are learning all about the surprising kanji school. Let's start off with the right side, as it comes from the kanji to mix or to cross, and it used to be a person crossing his legs. Later, the radical wood was added to the kanji to mix, and this gave it a very interesting meaning. This kanji did not used to mean school. Instead, it referred to a wooden yoke used to detain prisoners in ancient times. But eventually, this kanji also took over the meaning school, as it is a place where you interact, mix ideas, and knowledge gets exchanged. Also, the structure itself might have been made of wood. The on reading is ko. The examples are gakko, school, and kocho, headmaster. The sentence is daigaku to senmon gakko no chigai, the difference of university and a technical school. Fun fact, let's remember that the pronunciation for the kanji school is ko, but this pronunciation is also shared with other kanjis that refer to different kinds of establishments, such as ko for factory and ko for port. This might be a good reminder for you. Do not confuse school with a strangle. The main difference lies in the radicals. The school has a tree, while a strangle has a thread, which makes sense. This kanji has 10 strokes, and I will always find it interesting how some kanjis that seemed so normal today had some dark meanings before. What are your thoughts? Have you ever dreamed of escaping to a peaceful little village? So, let's go there with this kanji, which used to be completely different before. That is because this kanji was a more general term referring to field and villages, but eventually it took over the village meaning. If we look at the composition, the left is our beloved tree radical, while the right is the phonetic character sun, as well as a traditional unit of length. The kun reading is mura, or village. The sentence example is Sekai no kawaii mura tomachi, or the cutest villages and cities of the world. Fun fact! One of Japan's most famous villages is Chirakawa-go, a UNESCO World Heritage known for its beautiful gacho-style house, which look like hands in prayer. The on reading is son. The example is soncho, or village major. Do not confuse village with lumber. The key thing is to pay attention to all the elements in a kanji. In this kanji, village has the unit of length called shaku, which you will see in a lot of kanji, so keep that in mind. This kanji has 7 strokes. Have you ever visited one of Japan's villages? I bet they're beautiful. What is one of those items do you always need to do your Japanese studies? A desk. And that's the kanji we're studying today. Let's start by breaking this kanji that's divided into 2 parts. The left is the famous radical tree or wood. The right-hand side is the radical for table, and originally it was a low table similar to a stool. Now it gets interesting. This kanji had 2 different evolutions. In Chinese, it became the simplified version of the kanji for machine, while in Japanese, the meaning expanded to become desk. The kun reading is utsukue. The example is utsukue or desk. The sentence is Gakko no utsukue o kaite miyou. Let's try drawing a school desk. Fun fact! Early desks or tables in many cultures, including ancient China and Japan, were often low to the ground. The higher desks we commonly use today evolved over time. The on reading is ki. The examples are ki-hen, or near a desk, and ki-jo, or on the desk. Do not confuse desk with hungry. If you look at the composition of each, a desk is wood plus table, while hungry is eat plus table. Pretty simple. This kanji has 6 strokes. I often get the question if the same kanjis in Japanese have the same meanings in Chinese. As you can see with this kanji, there are exceptions. Time to learn the kanji gather and be ready for some cool kanji knowledge. So let's get to it. Check this out. This kanji is made of 2 parts. The bottom is the radical for yes, tree or wood. Then what about the top? Well, if you look at the original inscription, what does it look like to you? Yes, that's a bird. More specifically, it is the radical of small birds. Putting these 2 together, a flock of birds perched on a tree would give the meaning of to gather. Fun fact, the original kanji show 3 birds instead of only 1. This would of course emphasize the meaning gather. However, as it was difficult to write, the other 2 birds disappeared and only 1 was kept. Kun reading is atsu. The example is atsumaru, or to gather. The sentence is atsumaru basho ga hitsuyou da. We need a place to gather. The on reading is shu. The examples are shudan or group and shukai or meeting. Do not confuse gather with counter for ships. Main difference is the bottom. Gather has the birds gathering on the tree. The counter for ships has a hand instead. This kanji has 12 strokes. Did the story behind this kanji make sense to you? Do you think it will help you remember it going forward? I hope so. Let's set our sight on a character that points us in a very specific direction, the east. The story behind this little symbol is as rich and radiant as a sunrise itself. Now, let's rewind the clock way back and take a good look. What do you notice? It might surprise you to learn that early forms of east weren't necessarily about the direction where the sun rises. Instead, many scholars believe it was originally a bundle tied at both ends. So, how did a tie bundle come to mean east? Well, one theory suggests that this bundle represented baggage carried by travelers, and it was a common thing to relate travelers with the concept of going towards the rising sun, as it symbolized new beginnings and hope. Fun fact! A common mnemonic used with this kanji is a sun behind a tree, and although it is a very useful mnemonic, the ancient scripts are rather different from what a sun and a tree would look like. Therefore, that interpretation is most likely folk etymology. The kun reading is higashi. The example is higashi or east. The sentence is higashi no Eden, Eden of the east. The on reading is to. The examples are Tokyo or Tokyo and Chuto or Middle East. Do not confuse east with fruit. Unlike east, fruit does have a tree as a radical and the fruits on top. On the other hand, I hope you are now able to see the bundle in the kanji east. This kanji has 8 strokes, and I find it cool to know that Tokyo actually means East capital. Have you ever visited Tokyo? If so, what do you like the most? Today's kanji is as iconic as Japan itself, Sakura, the cherry blossom. Just like many other kanji, this kanji is a simplified version from its original kanji, so let's break it down. The original kanji was composed of 2 parts. The left is the radical for, yes, it is a tree, because a sakura is a tree. Pretty simple. The right side is a bit more complicated. Altogether used to mean necklace, and that meaning came from 2 cowries on top and a woman on the bottom. So, what does a tree and a necklace have to do with sakura? Well, you see, some sakura trees bear fruits that look just like beads in a necklace. And then, as usual, it was also a phonetic character. Then, what about the current kanji? Well, the 2 cowries on top just got a quick simplification into what looks like 3 small lines on top. Kun reading is sakura. The examples are sakura or cherry blossom and sakurambu or cherry fruit. The sentence is Sakura no miwakekata shitemasu ka? Do you know how to recognize the sakura? Fun fact! Sakura is linked to the word hanami or cherry blossom viewing. It's a major event in Japan every spring, with people gathering under the blooming trees for picnics and celebrations. Do not confuse sakura with watchtower. When sakura was simplified, it ended up with the katakana tsu on top. Watchtower has rise instead. This kanji has 10 strokes. The beauty of sakura has inspired countless works of arts, poems, and stories throughout Japanese history. It's a timeless motif representing spring, beauty, and the ephemeral nature of existence. Imagine a hidden place woven with care, branch by branch, a place where life begins. What would you call that place? That's right, a nest. The kanji nest is divided into 2 parts, and the top might surprise you, as earliest forms clearly show it to be a bird's nest. You could even see the woven structure and the chicks inside. Below, you have the radical for tree, because nests are often found in trees. The character we know today was actually simplified from the Chinese version, but the feeling stayed, a woven place hidden in the trees. The kun reading is su. The example is su or nest. The sentence is Sekai no tori no su no hon, bird's nest of the world. Fun fact, this kanji is found in the idiom sudatsu, or to leave the nest. It is a common expression for children growing up and moving out of their parents' home. The on reading is so. The example is eiso, or building a nest. Do not confuse nest with simple. Very similar, but do you see the difference? Nest has the tree. I hope you got it. Next time you see this kanji, just remember, it's not just a word, it's a shelter, a home, woven with care, ready for something new to take flight. Now, I got a challenge for you. What is the meaning of this word? Type it in the comments. Let's harvest some knowledge with the kanji for fruit and time to enjoy some delicious kanji facts. The bottom part, which you probably know by now, is a tree. And what is on top of the tree? It is not a rice field, but they are fruits, which you can clearly see in the original inscription. Over time, this kanji took the meaning of result and fulfill. This is a way to connect the fruit meaning to the figurative fruit of our efforts. Pretty cool. Fun fact, there are a lot of native kudamono or fruits in Japan. Some examples are mikan, Japanese oranges, sudachi, lemon-like fruit, ume, Japanese plum, nashi, Japanese pear, and kaki, Japanese persimmon. The kun reading is ha. The example is hatasu, to achieve. The sentence is fukushu o hatasu koto de hito wa shiawase ni nareru darou ka? Can achieving revenge make a person happy? The on reading is ka. The examples are kaju or fruit juice and kekka or result. Do not confuse fruit with candy. Can you spot the difference? Yes, candy has the grass radical on top. This kanji has 8 strokes. I believe this is another one of those kanjis that once you learn the story, you can unsee it. Just be careful not to confuse its origin with a rice field. Now, I got a challenge for you! What is the meaning of this word? Type it in the comments! If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate your support. Yay!